What's up, Facebook family? Come on in. Come on in. We are locked live. I know that you guys have been excited and waiting for this specific and special moment. So while we're kind of waiting to get started, make sure that you like this page, like this post, share, tag your friends. You don't want to miss this exclusive talk with Pastor Melva and Johanna and some of the other amazing people that are connected to women in worship. We're going to hear kind of the things that are going on behind the scenes, the things that make these events like this tick, the things that make things like this happen. And we don't always know. And so now it's an opportunity for us to take a look a little bit deeper and get to know for ourselves. Are you there? Do you see me? Can you hear me? All right. You guys know I love you. I love you guys so much. And just in case this is your first time tuning in, my name is Iberia, and this is Saved and the City on the Scene at Women in Worship. And so now I'm so excited to introduce to you Pastor Melva Henderson and Johanna Duckworth, and we're going to have a little conversation. Is that all right? I almost wish I could see myself. I'm used to seeing myself. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but we here. Okay. Pastor Melva said I look good, so I don't care what nobody else say today. No, I absolutely love it. So I'm so excited to be here today, and we are on the stage where I can't even say the magic happens because there's no tricks up in here. This is where the deliverance happens. This is where people are set free, and as you guys say all the time, where your life is never the same again after being here. I'm definitely a witness because I have enjoyed and had an opportunity to participate in Women in Worship over the years, and it really has been a life-changing experience for me. And so there, unlike or like most of you, when I first heard of Women in Worship, I thought of it as a conference. So I didn't know exactly what it was I was going to be getting into, but I knew Pastor Melva was there, and I knew there were people there that loved the Lord, and so I wanted to be there. And so and I know a lot of you have questions about, what is Women in Worship, and how can I participate, and some even deeper questions, and we're going to get into that today. So let's start with you, Pastor Melva. You are the brainchild. You are the creator, the founder, the visionary. Yes, ma'am, the visionary behind Women in Worship. Why don't you start by just telling us, kind of take us on a journey, kind of from the beginning to now.
Well, I would love to. First of all, thank you for having me on Saved in the City of Iberia. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Absolutely.
Your audience and Johanna. Well, Women in Worship started, I was invited a couple of years ago to attend a women's gathering, and they called it 100 Women in White. And something happened, and, I was supposed to be a speaker, and they canceled the event. Well, for some reason, those words stayed with me. And at that time, there was a group of my friends. A lot of them were in business for themselves, CEOs of companies, and they had children, they had their business, their ministries, and all of that. And all of them were saying almost at the same time, I'm overwhelmed. I'm juggling a lot between my kids, my job, my dishes, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And so I started praying about that. Now, all of this was taking place kind of during that same space that I was invited to speak. And I said to the Lord, what can be done to help women who are dealing with situations like this where they're feeling overwhelmed by their lives? And so I just began to pray for it. And I heard, if you get them to the throne, I'll take them from there.
Wow.
And so that became kind of the birth child of Women in Worship. And so I thought, okay, how do I get women to... what does that look like? What does that mean to get women to the throne? My history is that I was a person of prayer. I've always had a very private prayer life, but I knew that in order for me to step into that meant that my prayer life was going to have to become a public life. And then I started thinking about the three things that made my life what it is: my prayer life, my worship life, and my word life.
Amen. Yeah.
And so from those three things, I called my administrator and I said, I want to host a gathering, not a conference.
Yeah.
I want to host a gathering where women come and they gather around the throne of God, and the purpose is for us to come and do what Lamentations 2:19 says, pour out our heart before the face of God like water. And so I said, I want to call it 100 Women in Worship. And she was like, okay. So that was 2006. And so that year we hosted the gathering thinking that 100 women would come, and 244 women showed up. And we spent the entire night doing just those three things: feeding on the Word of God, time in prayer, and outstanding times of worship. And that was where Women in Worship was birthed. And every year since then, Women in Worship has continued to grow. Again, we don't call it a conference because it's our opportunity to come and put our lives out in front of God and give God our all and whatnot. And so it's grown to what it is today. We're in this beautiful building. The Helene Zelazo.
I'm glad you said it because I was struggling with the last name. I said Zelazo? Zelazo, yes.
You even said Helen Bader.
But it does say Helen Bader on the front.
Helen Bader, right? The Helen Bader Foundation, Bader family has a lot to do with this. This building used to be, we're sitting in what used to be a Jewish synagogue.
Wow.
Can y'all see the building? Can we get a
if you
picture
look
of the
up,
building?
you can see on the windows, you can
Beautiful
see the Star
windows.
of David, and you can see everything that makes Judaism what it is. But
Wow.
this used to be a synagogue, and I love this building because of the rich heritage that it has.
Right.
And we have literally been able to see God move in the lives of thousands, and I mean thousands of women that have come through the doors. Some of them were, coming through the doors saying, God, if you don't change my life this weekend, I'm leaving my husband, I'm going to take my life, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And every year, God does exactly what they expected him to do.
And then some. Abundance. Come on for the abundance.
Yeah.
Now, Johanna, this is our very own Johanna, the Lifestyle by Johanna. So talk a little bit about the role that you play in Women in Worship and just working with Pastor Melva overall.
Sure. So first of all, I'll say that my initial introduction into Women in Worship was back at the Alverno College, which is when they were there you were there for many years. Yeah, for many years. And so I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so I too was feeling the pressure of life.
Yes.
And just kind of wanted to go somewhere that wasn't church.
Right.
And I'm from church, right? I was born in church.
Yes, very
churched.
churched.
I wanted to experience the presence of God, no denomination, okay?
Yeah.
And so it was that for me, just an opportunity for me to let go. And thinking about that and really anticipating it, years to come. I think for women that have participated in Women in Worship, it's one of those kind of events.
Absolutely.
It's like clear your calendar, right around the end of May, that's when it's going down. And so we think about that, and so you begin to develop an anticipation. And so at that time, I was a part of a different ministry. And the beautiful thing about Women in Worship is that it's so inclusive.
It is.
It really is. Denomination, ethnicity, all of that.
Socioeconomic background.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. If you love God, join us.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so at that time, I was a part of a different ministry, loved the ministry that I was a part of at that time. But I wanted to worship. And so I landed at Alverno. And through that time, I would say coming back year after year, it stuck with me, that experience. And so fast forward several years later, I became a part of World Outreach and kind of embraced the vision of our pastors, Pastor Skip and Pastor Melva, and just wanted to lock arms with Pastor Melva and help her in the work that she's doing. So, remembering way back when, even past Women in Worship, World Outreach, Women in Worship, to, the ministry that we were a part of together, which she did amazing things and left an amazing impact. There's a lot of fruit from this woman's life. And so when I had the opportunity to connect with the ministry, Pastor Melva and Pastor Skip's ministry is something where, restoration, they specialize in training people to operate in their gift and calling.
Absolutely.
And that's a powerful thing. And so I have had the opportunity to do that, to use my gifts and talents to help her forward her vision, and while doing so, God has perfected my skill.
Absolutely.
And so it's been a wonderful experience. And for me this year, so last year was my first year kind of getting involved, and it was maybe around the luncheon or something like that. And so I don't remember exactly. It's just kind of like wherever my hands can
Yes.
fit, you know, how about I'm just going to do that?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And so from there morphed into, you know, me having an active role in the women's ministry at the church,
Yeah.
World Outreach, and, you know, from there just kind of evolved, I would say.
And what I love is something that you said, Johanna, it stuck out to me about, you know, your experience that you had in women in worship overall, and just how it was life changing. Like we said, your life will never be the change, and there will never be the same. And there's something about what happens that once that happens to you, you want other people to feel that too.
Absolutely.
And you were the one that brought me to Women in Worship for the first time, literally by my hand. You held my hand. I remember that, and pulled me on into this place. And my life literally after that was never the same. It was it was spiraling into control after Women in Worship. And so I love that. There's something about it where it's fruit. Like when you once you experience it, you got to give it out.
I love what you said. I know you were going to say something. I'll let you
go ahead.
No,
I
go ahead.
love what you just said about having a life that's spiraling in control. Into control.
Yes.
Because so many lives are spiraling out of control.
Yes.
And that's one of the visions for Women in Worship, is to get women to a place where they can harness their life and bring it into the places that God has ordained for their life to be, because there's so much pulling at us and so many directions that we can go. And a lot of times we don't make good decisions, but when you're in a body, or when you're surrounded by other women who are about it, who are thinking about their future, thinking about perfecting everything that it is that they've been called to do, it's a powerful thing.
It is.
It really is a powerful thing. And so I love it that Johanna was sensitive enough to see something in the atmosphere, and I love it that it didn't come from me. I didn't see you, I didn't meet you, I didn't have to touch you, but you were around other women who were releasing their energy, releasing their substance, and your life got changed.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that I remember about that time, you know, it was a transitional time for you. And so like 2 years later, girl, you on
Don't
the
make me
stage.
cry. I'm trying my best not to cry.
I know. I
Don't do it.
choke you up. But I mean, I remember that time, right, in the conversations, and so I'm like, you need to come get some of this. Come get some of this, because this is going to help catapult you into the next place.
There's a freedom here in Women in Worship, and that's the other part that I love, and I want you to talk a little bit more about it. And this is definitely, you know, when you think about conference, this is not, you know, because literally whether you want to come to the altar and worship in the middle of the welcome, like you can do that.
Listen,
so
all the way up there in the balcony, we were like laid out in the balcony.
You think the balcony don't got the fire, don't got don't got oil everywhere in
the fire.
Every place.
And you know why that is? It's because we're intentional about bringing the fire.
Yes.
It's not just that the fire, you know, it does hover in the atmosphere, but we come with the fire.
Yeah.
The women walk through the doors with such anticipation that it pulsates.
Yes.
You know, and so then when we come together, we just become explosive, and our lives change because of it. So it's amazing.
So let's talk a little bit more about what they can expect here. We're talking about kind of the feeling and the emotion and the change that you'll feel here, but it's the vessels that God is using here. So we have obviously Pastor Melva, Johanna, Real Talk Kim is going to be here. So let's talk about the people that are involved.
Well, we bring a hodgepodge of a bunch of people together, women, men. There's no way I could be doing this by myself.
That's good.
But it takes a team of people who, number one, love God, number two, believe in the vision, to see women's lives changed. And everybody from the sound team to the lighting people to everybody is here for that one purpose. And I think that that's what makes this so unique. Is that I can trust the people that are running sound and running the cameras to capture moments with God, so that lives can be impacted by it. And so
long after it's over.
Long after it's over.
And so, you know, the whole idea of keeping everything free and open so that people can come to the altar when they need to come to the altar. That's something that you can't get at a conference. That's often something you can't get in a church service because we're looking at the time. We need to have order. Here, although, we have order, it's the boundaries are set a little, they're distant boundaries because we want women to engage with God where their heart engages. So wherever it is that a woman's heart engages with God, that's where we want her to fall to her knees. So if she's in the balcony and God is speaking to her, we want her to fall to her knees in the middle of the wherever it is that they come in contact in their heart with God, that's where the altar becomes. So, I'm excited about
so
it.
excited.
From the worship, Felicia Harris is leading worship this year. She's leading the creative arts team. We've got Richard King, Mark Harris, Angie Harris, Kateri. I mean, we've got...
It's going down, y'all.
It's going down.
I promise you. Okay, so we're going to plug it in a minute, but I'm just saying it's going down.
So many talented people are going to be here this year, and not just for the adult women. And I know we're going to talk about girls rock, but even for the teenage girls, we have something this year that's really special.
So that's a great point. So I wanted to ask you, so the event has spanned now 12 years?
12 years.
Oh, that's,
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
12 years. So what different can we expect this year? So you talked a little bit about some of that, but why don't you give us a little bit more?
Well, this year, one of the main things that's different this year is the fact that my daughter is collaborating with me. And I know
we're going to be talking to her. I mean, I love it.
I know. Pause and talk
really
about that for a minute.
It's exciting because all her life, I've wanted all of my kids' life, I wanted them to be involved with me in whatever it is that I was doing. But my daughter was going through a transitional phase in her life, and she didn't want anything to do with me. She didn't want anything to do with Jesus. She didn't want to do anything with God, church, nothing. And so today, to have her partnering with me to affect the lives of teenage girls is monumental.
It's beautiful.
It really is. So that's one thing that you can expect, that we're going to be reaching out to the girls through what we're calling Girls Rock. And then I just believe that there's a new level of life that we're going to experience this year with the number 18 in the Hebrew is chai, and it means to life. And so that's the theme of Women in Worship this year. We're expecting, and I'll share this in my message just a little bit tonight, Friday night, but Jesus is Jewish. And in Judaism, the Jews take the number 18 to be really significant. It has special meaning to them. And what they do is they give gifts in multiples of 18.
Wow.
Jesus is Jewish. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, this Jesus that we serve, who happens to be Jewish, he rolls with Judaism. And if the Jews are given multiples of 18 of blessings and giftings, I just believe that we're going to another level spiritually.
In 2018.
In 2018.
Wow.
Amen.
I'm ready for it. And so Friday night is you're speaking.
I speak Friday.
And then what's happening on
I usually
Saturday?
don't like to tell people who speak.
Okay.
No,
Okay. Yeah.
But I usually don't like to do that because people pick and choose.
I know, that's so true. Come to all of it. Come to all of it. I think the luncheon is sold out now, though. The luncheon is sold out. So, but there are still tickets available for the general admission for Women in Worship. So I'm so excited, guys, about just this opportunity. Y'all know I got a big mouth, so I want to have a mic right here. I just need to let y'all know what's going on behind the camera. They tell me I need to pull it down because I know I'm clipping. But I'm so excited about just this opportunity to be here on the stage where it all happens. And really, because the beautiful part is it doesn't just have to stay on the stage like Pastor Melva and Johanna would say, Pastor Johanna and Johanna. Speaking into existence.
Wrong interview. We're talking about women in worship.
Yes, they're receiving even from the audience. Let's touch and agree. Amen. But you guys need to be here. Give us the dates just for those people that are just tuning in now of when the things are happening and at least the times.
May the 25th through the 26th. That's this Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. Friday night and Saturday night here at the Helene Zelazo Center, 2419 East Kenwood Boulevard on the campus of UWM. And then on Saturday morning at 7 a.m., we're going to be in prayer. And we're going to have empowerment sessions Saturday morning, and simultaneously, we're going to be hosting the Girls Rock Weekend. So.
Yes.
I'm so excited for it. So, guys, we are not going too much further away from here. We're just going to go on a quick break so we can switch out and chat with a couple of the other people that are involved in Women in Worship. Johanna, do you have some final kind of things?
Yes. So I just want to remind people, if you still want to come,
Yes.
you can go online and register at melvahendersonministries.org.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Don't forget it. You still have a little time to
and
do
bring
that.
somebody,
Bring
ladies.
somebody.
Bring somebody with you. Bring somebody. If you know someone that's in transition, or, you know, they just need to exhale. They may be having a challenging time, a mother, a sister, a aunt, you know, anybody, a coworker, a neighbor. Bring them in here, get them in the door, and let God do the rest.
Yeah, I mean, we always feel like we got to go out of the city
Yes.
to get whole and deliverance and set free, and we have amazing happenings right here
really
in the
do.
city of Milwaukee,
really
and so we just got to tap in. So we'll be right back after this. And we are back. You are locked live to Saved and the City on the Scene right here at Women in Worship 2018. I'm so excited to be here with Pastor Melva, if you're just joining. And then now we've switched seats and Mrs. Felicia is here and in the building. And so we're talking about all the amazing things that kind of go on behind the scenes at Women in Worship. And this wouldn't be this particular event without the worship. It's all about the worship, really, for us here during this season and during this time. And so, Felicia, I want you to kind of just jump in and talk about your role in Women in Worship, how you got connected to Pastor Melva.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just how it's also changed your life.
Absolutely. So for Women in Worship, again, that's part of the name of it. You know, it's the worship piece, and I think that women that come in here, they have a certain expectation. When you come, that's part of what you're coming for. And I know for me, I know we were talking earlier, I'm a direct reflection of Women in Worship. Before I ever got the opportunity to sing, before I ever got the opportunity to be the worship arts director, I would come also over at Alverno. At the time I was going to another ministry, and our pastor's wife was actually speaking over there, and it was my first experience. And I remember coming with my girlfriend, we were like, whoa,
Yeah.
all these women in this one place,
Yeah.
and we were kneeling down praying at our seats. It was powerful. And so every year after that, I would come and I would sit, and then one year someone reached out to me, Pastor Melva's team reached out to me and said, hey, would you be interested in singing? And I was like, sure, yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
And when I came, I was like, this is going to be huge. This
Yeah.
is going to be huge. So I'm a direct reflection
yeah.
of Women in
I
Worship.
actually reached out to Felicia the second year of Women in Worship, but she had a a manager that was like, she can do it if you gonna pay her.
Well, that's how it be sometimes, child.
I was like, okay, I'll
Wait a minute.
I no longer have that manager, just to let you know. We no longer have that
Right,
manager.
I already about to say.
I'll wait till I can afford it.
But what a blessing, though,
Yeah.
you know. And I've had actually the first time I witnessed you in worship. Felicia was at Faith Builders.
Yes,
that was
yes.
the first time, and I loved, you know, just the way that you engaged with the Father. It was
Yes,
just an
thank
amazing
you.
experience. And so, first time I saw you here, I was like, oh God, yes. I mean, like, this is definitely this is real, you know. So it's really an amazing thing. And so that was something that you said that stood out about seeing the women together in a unified front, worshiping God.
Yes.
And it kind of dispels the myth that women can't be together in the same place.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
even, you know, as we are coming together and planning Women in Worship, we have all of these women who work in so many different facets of the ministry, or even in business, or whatever it is that they do. We are all sitting at this table, coming together, hammering it out, and people think that women can't work together. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can. We can work together. We can worship together. We can do ministry together. We can do all things through Christ who
And
gives us
it's
strength
not
to
that
do
we
it.
don't have, you know, we don't rub each other's fur
Right.
the wrong way.
Right.
Sometimes
yeah.
we definitely do that, but I think that the beautiful thing has been is that we are committed to one another to make sure that even though we hit a rough spot, okay, let's
Yeah.
slow this down. Let's not go until tomorrow. Let's smooth this
Right.
out. And so we've been able to overcome something. And the fruit of it is the presence of God in the midst of us.
Amen.
You know, it's not that we don't have challenges, but it's that we're committed to one another to work through any challenge that we have for the overall good of
Absolutely.
everybody that's coming.
Absolutely.
We're not thinking about us.
Right.
We're thinking about
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's huge, because when I sit back and I think about where I was when I was just, you know, a woman coming to Women in Worship.
Yeah.
I had a broken marriage. I was in a really bad place in my life. I was suicidal. I was depressed. There were so many things going on in my life. And so now here, walking in this particular role, I see it differently. And so when I'm thinking about the worship and thinking about what it is, God, what do you want us to say and do, I'm being sensitive. There are people that are coming in here the way that I came in here,
I love it.
just like me, depressed, suicidal, broken marriage, you know, just so many things. And it's like, Lord, now, how can you work through me so that I can minister to them where they are, like somebody on this stage those years was ministering to me where I was.
That's so good.
Yeah.
We say that it's an appointment with God.
Yeah.
That's what we say. We say that Women in Worship is our moed. In the Hebrew, it's the word appointment, like you have a doctor's appointment. This is our moed. We come here to have a meeting
Yes.
with God.
Yeah.
Because he called us. He summons us. He summons us.
Yeah.
How you say that?
That's it. Summons.
He calls us to this place. And we come in every year. My heart comes through the door before my foot ever
Yes.
goes over
Yes.
the threshold.
Yes.
It really does. And then when you encounter someone who says, your life is never going to be
Yes.
the same, it's like, really? Really? That's what I've been
Right,
waiting
yeah,
for.
yeah.
That's what I've been looking
Yes.
for my life to be transformed in a way that it'll never go back
Yeah.
to what
Right.
it
Yeah.
used to be.
Absolutely.
Expectation met.
Yes.
You know, because we always walk around with these expectations, but God can fulfill and meet those expectations. So that being said, though, just kind of thinking about the process, like you said, you know, thinking now, you know, that you were one of those women that was in the audience
Yeah.
and looking up here and gleaning from what was happening on stage. Can we talk a little bit about the selection process? Is there a selection process for the people who are up here worshiping? Talk about that. People don't realize you just can't come up here and sing.
You know, people may think that this is micromanaging, but it's really not. But I select who comes on the stage. And I do that, you know, with Felicia's blessings, but I do it because I'm the visionary, and I know what God said to me, and I know I don't always know the how, but I always know the what. And because I know the what, I don't give that I don't just give that away.
Right,
I
yeah.
keep who gets on the platform very close to my heart, from the speaker to the singers. Anybody that's up there, I authorize them to be there.
I love that.
And so that's the selection process. So I'm praying now about who's supposed to be on the stage next year.
Yeah.
I don't wait until I get to women in worship to start talking to God about, okay, what. Sometimes in services, in the women in worship service, I can see things. God will drop things in my heart for the year to come. I mean, I've seen things. I saw Felicia on the stage in 2009, but she didn't get on the stage until maybe 2 or 3 years later.
Right.
And so I just, I trust God, and when I see something, I put it before Him, and then it happens. Does that mean that people that are interested in women in worship can't come and say, hey, I'm interested in being a part of it? Sure, they can come and say something, but there's definitely a process.
Absolutely.
As a person that, is on the other side, because we've all been on either the stage side or sitting in the audience. For me, and I'm sure for you all, it makes you feel safe. For me, it makes me feel safe knowing that the leadership has a role that they play in that, and unfortunately, I think it's a mandate that all leadership, should have. And unfortunately, we just allow all kinds of people sometimes to be all up and through, if we can be honest. And then the people come in wanting to be changed, and they changed, or something else has happened. So everything that happens in women in worship is intentional.
Absolutely,
it is intentional. And I've seen the pictures where people are praying in advance for it. And so it's a beautiful thing. The worship begins before they even hit the stage, which is a beautiful thing. So is there anything else, Felicia, you can tell us even about, because we talked a little bit about the vocalists and some of the people earlier, but even the band, tell us about kind of how that I don't want to say magic, but how that ministry happens.
Absolutely. And nothing great comes without its challenges. And sometimes,
and how some of the music is picked too.
What we want to try to do is we want to present a wide range of music so that people from all backgrounds can come and say, hey, I know that song, or hey, I know this song. So when we make the selection process, we're trying to make sure that we're following the voice of God and picking songs that can speak to everybody. Just like when we're picking people that are coming on the stage, we want the women that come in here to be able to identify with somebody on this stage. That's what we desire. So we're praying, Lord, we want to have a good representation of the people that are on this stage. So, don't be surprised. You will see a few men playing.
Yeah, I was going to say that,
A few men are going to be playing and singing. And, hopefully next year we can get an all-girls band. Hint, hint, we know a good bass player. I'll just put that out there.
Whatever the Lord says.
Right. So, but I mean, we want everybody to be able to identify with what they're hearing. And we want everybody to come and have a good time, be able to come and get to this altar if that's what they need to do, whatever it is that they need to do to meet God here. We want to help them do that through the worship arts.
I love it. And so you guys, you have to get here. It's happening this Friday and this Saturday. Let's plug it again for those people who just joined and then maybe clicking off. So give us the dates, the times, and when they can be here.
Yep. So again, it's going to be this Friday, this Saturday. Prayer's going to start at 6:00, and then service starts at 7:00. Each night. You have to get here. Your life will literally never be the same. It'll never be the same after you come.
I did want to, before we go to our next break, I did want to just touch really quickly on, again, Women in Worship has been in existence now for 12 years, and it's only very recently that there's a cost associated with it. And so just for those people who are, asking, well, because I've had some people want to know, how much it costs and can I just come, or, maybe kind of talk through that. Yeah.
Well, it's, that it has kind of been a little bit of a thorn in my flesh, with having to charge, because for so many years, the first 10 years of Women in Worship, it was free. And that was because World Outreach Center undercut the cost. We didn't have to pay for anything. They were very gracious to MHM. Well, they clipped our wings. And so, and it was an opportunity for Melva Henderson Ministries to walk by faith.
Yes.
To trust God to be the providing source for us versus a church. And so because Women in Worship is such a collaboration of different people from different churches and different places, I really wanted it to be independent. Well, to do that, you have to have resources.
Yes,
and we didn't have
absolutely.
the resources. And so, so we charged a fee. And we've never charged what it costs us to facilitate Women in Worship. And so, for people to just understand and bear with us that this is an important part of it. It takes, salvation is free, but it costs money to get people to their place of freedom.
Yes, yes.
And
absolutely.
So, yes, there's a cost. This year, it's $65 per person, and it'll be $65 even if you walk in at the door. The day of, it'll be $65. And for girls that may be coming to Girls Rock, teenage girls, it's $25. And so that's, that's what it costs.
Yeah.
And,
It's a
again,
seed-
there's a
it's a
little bit of
seed
trepidation.
I know.
I
but
don't
we
like
yeah.
to talk about it, but it's a necessary part of it, and it's not going away.
Right, and that's the thing, and not to do a comparison, but we'll pay so much money for things where when we walk out, it's just a bag, or it's just a pair of shoes, or it was just a concert, and your life is still the same, But with this, you're literally leaving change, set free, delivered, and you're not paying for that. That's a seed, that's a seed sown if you look at it in that way. And so, I just wanted to kind of address that because I've had some people asking me, and I'm like, if you don't pay this seed, if you split that up over 2 days.
Yeah.
How important is transformation?
Absolutely.
Yes. Wow.
You cannot put a price on a transformed life. And that's the thing that people have to understand. Yes, it's $65, but that's nothing in comparison to, you think about where you were, sitting in the back, broken marriage, broken life. And today she's, she's a poster child for women in worship.
Yes,
and where
yes.
God can take you and what God can do in your life. You were drug in here.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
and look at today,
yes.
like Johanna said,
On the
you got
stage.
your own show.
Come on.
We doing women in worship.
I love it.
You can't put a price on that.
I'm blown away. I'm going to have a good cry. When it's all over, like, I can't wait just to go have a hard cry.
You can't, but the $65, would it have been worth it?
Oh, absolutely. And then some.
Yeah.
And then some. And still would have been someone on top of it. Right. Absolutely. So, guys, get here. We want your life to be changed. Absolutely. So we're going to be right back after this break. We're not done with Women in Worship. And we are back. You guys are locked live to Saved and the City on the scene right here at Women in Worship. They're going to have to give me a lavalier mic. I can't handle this. I cannot. And so you see, we've been kind of transitioning from all the different, this is only 3 of so many people that help bring this event to manifestation, if for lack of a better phrase. And so we're sitting here with Pastor Melva's beautiful daughter, Miss Kayla, and we're going to talk a little bit about Girls Rock. Kayla, I'm going to call you Miss Kayla. Kayla, why don't we just jump right in? Tell us about Girls Rock. Your mother talked about a little bit earlier, this kind of being a collaborative effort. I think that's absolutely amazing. So tell us a little bit about it.
So Girls Rock basically was when I was actually sitting in my food class. And we, like the table that I sat at, we were all girls, so we would just talk about our everyday lives, things that were going on. And at one point there was a season for all of the girls where they started talking about, I don't like this about myself and da-da-da-da. And it bothered me. It really bothered me to the point where I was like, I actually had this discussion with them. I was like, if I created something for you all because they would always come to me for advice because I'd gone through that. And so if I created something where you could just, learn and be able to hear other people's stories, would you come? They said yes. So that's what sparked Girls Rock for me, is because the model for Girls Rock is realizing your beauty on the inside and out. And that's really what I want these girls, when they come to this event, to really realize, is that you're beautiful on the inside and it shows on the out.
Absolutely. So it's not a musical thing, because I did have a couple people thinking that it was, Girls Rock. It's like but it's just saying, So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
But you're saying inside out, just who we are as females or as women or as girls, we rock. I absolutely love it. And so what happened, Pastor Melva? Did she bring it to you and say, Mom, I have this idea? Or how did that work?
She did. Actually, Kayla had done a Girls Rock retreat when she was 10 years old.
Wow.
And we brought all the girls in our church together, and it was a weekend where we kind of camped out and set the building up like a rock concert. And
it was awesome.
And just just do some really, because she had the idea when she was young, and so she kind of fizzled out as she was going through some transitions in her life. And so when she came talking about Girls Rock, it was just as we had entered into the throes of the planning stages of Women in Worship. And I thought, what a better way to collaborate than and a better way to get the youth girls involved in Women in Worship than a collaboration with Girls Rock. And so I told her, I said, if you put it all together, you form your own team, because I got my team. And, she's strong as a leader, and I didn't want to be fighting with her. So I said, you get your team, I'll have my team, and you guys do Girls Rock, and we'll do Women in Worship. And they put it together. So
how is it work? So is it simultaneously happening, or how's it working together?
The girls will be in service with us on Friday night and Saturday night.
Okay.
But Saturday during the day, during our empowerment sessions, that's when we break
Okay.
off. The women will be in here inside the Helene Zelazo Center, and the youth will be here as well, but they'll be in the lower level.
Gotcha.
With everything settled in together for Girls Rock.
Okay, and so I know we don't necessarily have to name the speakers, but just so we kind of have an idea. So is it kind of like a panel discussion, or do you have different speakers, or is it music, or what's going on?
So basically, I do have different speakers, but it's more of a panel discussion.
Okay.
Whereas I did have a vision like my mom. I didn't want it to be exactly like Women in Worship.
Sure.
Because I know for some people, they see Women in Worship, they're like laid out.
Yeah. It happens.
So I
That's
wanted to be, for them to feel open enough to ask questions. Like, if they have questions about something, like if they don't feel comfortable just raising their hand, they can write it on a piece of paper while hearing our stories. So I really wanted it to be, I don't want to say chill, but I want it to be, I want it to be more one-on-one.
Yeah.
Rather than,
I love that.
Group.
I love that. But you're a worshiper as well. I've heard you sing, beautiful voice. And so there's no music happening down there as well, or no?
I didn't. So the reason
a little different.
It's a little different because I wanted the focus to be on them.
Gotcha.
And although, music is a great way, I really wanted the focus to be on what do you need?
Right.
Rather than, hearing the music and getting all caught up in that. What do you specifically need right now, today?
I absolutely love it, and especially since we still have the Women in Worship aspect of it, so that's happening. Yeah, exactly. So you're getting your not necessarily the music, but you're getting that worship experience on Friday and Saturday evening. But then Saturday during the day, we're doing the split there. So, is there anything else that you could share with us about Girls Rock? Is this a one time and done, or is this an annual thing that you're wanting to do?
I do want it to be annual, but
Yeah.
because I'm going off to college, and even this year,
Congratulations.
I graduated early in January, so my first semester I was like, all right, I'm going to college.
Yeah.
So all of that was a lot this year. So I'm just trying to track where I'm going to be in college, also with Girls Rock. So I'm just thinking about it as a whole right now.
I love it. I love it. This is a question. This was kind of off camera. Johanna and I were talking, and so I'll kind of pose this question to both of you ladies, because you do events of such great magnitude, and there's all of these people that are coming with these expectations. Do you all get nervous? Although, I mean, the cool part about it is that we can lean on the Father and say, oh, Lord, I surrender all, you take it. But still on the human side, do you get nervous, and how do you work through that?
I'll share something that I shared last year in my message last year. About this time last year, and it was probably this very day, my husband was standing at the top of the stairs, and I was standing at the bottom of the stairs, and I just, was just kind of looking up at him. It was 2 days before Women in Worship, and he was like, "What's wrong with you?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail." When you know that so many people are coming through the doors with an expectation that God is going to change their life, you want to be on point. And you want to make sure that everything is where it needs to be for that to happen. Anything from a baby crying can cause,
distraction
and not receive what it is that they need. And so the pressure of that can sometimes really push me to my knees, because I don't want to fail, and I don't want to disappoint people. I don't want to disappoint people, and I don't want to fail God. And so, yes, there is a great deal of stress with it, but I have to quickly cast that care to the Lord and just trust. All he told me to do, you get them to the throne, is what he said. He said, I will take them from there. So my job is done once I create opportunities for them to get to the throne. My job is done. And so I have to take the pressure off of me. And in many ways, it's prideful for me to think that it's all on me to do what God said he was going to do, and it's not.
Yeah, but I think that's the spirit that God wants, is that, in our weakness, he's made strong. And in that surrender, and Lord, I can't do it. And the weight, when the vision is so big, and if you can feel the weight of that thing, it's because we're trying to carry it on our own, cast the cares, on the Father. What about you, Kayla? Any nerves? This is the first year out. Bless her heart, Jesus. Now I'm excited for you.
Times she said, I'm not going to do it.
That's actually what I was going to touch on, is this process for me, it was like a roller coaster, because there are points in times where I was like, oh yes, our numbers are going up, and then I was like, oh, there's something else. And then it was really like a roller coaster. And at one point, my mom knows this, I had to sit back and I was like, I had to think, I had to pray. I'm like, God, is this really what you want me to do? Is this what you put on, is this something you put on my heart? Is this something that I just did just because? And that really, I really thought about that for days. I'm like,
we both did, because usually when things are free, I mean, we get to 700 people like that. Free. And that has been our history, that we would get to just under 1,000. Actually, we went over 1,000 a few years. And, and we would do it by April 1st. Our numbers would be through the roof, And this year, it did not happen that way. And so there was a great deal of anxiety, for a couple of months and weeks there. But we just had to step back and just say, God, you called us to this.
Amen.
And we trust your process. And, faith believes what it does not see. And so when you're walking by faith, you cannot walk by sight. And you have to know that God is the one that called you to do it, and then you stand in it, no matter what's going on. And so that's what we had to do. And so we're just believing God that even up to the very last moment, women are going to be coming through the door. So we're just
Absolutely.
trusting the Father.
Amen. I know that blessed someone just in general, because we all have projects and things that God has called us to do. And sometimes walking that thing out, you'll second guess certain things when you start to, like Peter, to look at the water, but, if we keep our eyes fixed on God, on Christ, he will direct our path. And so I'm so glad that you guys chose faith over fear and that Women in Worship is happening on this Friday and Saturday. And now Girls Rock is an addition to it. And then there's also, during the luncheon, there's an intimate discussion with you. So you'll get to learn a little bit more about Pastor Melva and her heart. There's so many moving pieces, so many people involved, and you guys definitely need to be a part of it. So before we wrap up for the afternoon, let's shout out Women in Worship one more time, the dates, the times, and how people can get connected.
Well, you can register today for Women in Worship 2018, May the 25th and 26th at melvahenderson.org. We hope to see you there.
Absolutely. And your life will never be the same. We'll see you later. This has been Saved in the City on the Scene.